Ever had that feeling after talking to someone you feel completely drained? Or do you catch yourself constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of saying something wrong? This isn't just a bad day. It could be a serious red flag. Today, we're going to talk about 12 signs that you should cut off all contact with someone. And I promise, some of these points will make you see your relationships in a completely new light. Let's figure out when it's time to stop trying to fix what's long been broken and start taking care of your own peace of mind. Ending communication isn't a punishment for the other person, but an act of self-preservation for you. It's like on an airplane. Put on your own oxygen mask first. So let's start with the very first, and perhaps the most telling sign. This is constant emotional exhaustion. Do you know that feeling? You've just finished talking to someone, hung up the phone, or closed the door behind them, and you have absolutely zero energy left for anything. It's like all the life force has been drained out of you, leaving just an empty shell. Think of it like your phone battery instantly dropping from 100% to 1. This isn't just mild fatigue. It might be a sudden headache. Apathy sets in, and you lose the desire to do things you love. Inspiration for work or creativity vanishes without a trace. You feel not just tired, but utterly drained, depleted. Healthy relationships, even when there are disagreements, shouldn't work like this. They either energize you or leave you at the same energy level, but they shouldn't systematically turn you into a drained battery. If you notice that after every interaction with this person, you need several hours or even a whole day to recover, this is not a coincidence. It's a clear signal from your nervous system. It's screaming at you that this interaction is toxic and is taking too much out of you. Your body is giving you the first warning sign, and it's definitely worth listening to. Now, let's move on to the second, equally important sign. We can call this one the one-way street. Picture a tennis match where you're constantly serving the ball, running all over the court, giving it your absolute best, while your partner just stands there, not even trying to hit it back. Sound familiar? Consider this. Who usually makes the first move? Who texts first, suggests meeting up, plans your time together? If you're the one doing this 9 times out of 10, then it's not really a relationship anymore. It's your job to maintain it. Or another angle, you serve as this person's personal shoulder to cry on. You listen for hours about their problems, offer support, give advice. But the moment you try to share something personal, something you're struggling with, their interest immediately vanishes. They either quickly change the subject or dismiss your feelings with lines like, "Oh, that's nothing," you think. "That's bad. Let me tell you about my problems." Your needs, your feelings, your successes and failures are consistently ignored or downplayed. You essentially become invisible. In this dynamic, you're not a partner or a true friend. You're more like a convenient utility, a resource they tap into whenever they need something. And this slowly, surely, eats away at your self-esteem, making you question your own value. Now let's move on to something more subtle and insidious. The third red flag is covert manipulation. This isn't overt yelling or insults. It's a psychological game where you're slowly cornered, often without even realizing how you got there. First and foremost, it's a masterful skill at inducing guilt. The person constantly makes you feel responsible for their bad mood or failures. Their key phrases are things like, "I'm so upset because of you," or, "If you hadn't done that, everything would have been fine." You're constantly left feeling guilty and responsible even when you've done nothing wrong. Next comes passive aggression. This is veiled hostility. For instance, backhanded compliments like, "Oh, you look great for your age," or the silent treatment, a pointed silence, or ignoring your questions. They don't explicitly state they're angry, but they express it non-verbally, forcing you to constantly guess what you've done wrong. And finally, perhaps the most insidious tactic, gaslighting. This is when they make you doubt your own sanity or perception. They'll tell you things like, "You're imagining things," "I never said that," "You're making it up," or "You're overreacting." Gradually, you start to doubt your own memory and feelings. You stop trusting yourself. It's a slow poison that erodes your sense of self from the inside, making you increasingly dependent on the manipulator's view. And finally, the fourth category of signs. At this point, you don't need a magnifying glass or detective work. The masks are off. This is blatant, undisguised disrespect. This is when you clearly and plainly say, "Please don't do that. It makes me uncomfortable." You set a personal boundary. The person nods, says, "Okay, I understand," and the very next day does the exact same thing, looking you right in the eye. This isn't forgetfulness. It's a clear demonstration that your rules, your feelings, and your boundaries mean absolutely nothing to them. This also includes invalidation and ridicule. You excitedly talk about your new goal or dream, only to be met with a condescending chuckle and a phrase like, "Seriously? You? Well, good luck. Your achievements are diminished. Got a promotion? Oh, anyone could handle that job. Painted a picture? It's nice, I guess, but hardly real art." People like this aren't shy about criticizing you in public or sharing embarrassing stories about you in front of friends to make themselves look better. They interrupt you mid-sentence because their opinion is clearly more important. These aren't just bad manners. This is a consistent and deliberate message telling you, you don't matter. Your thoughts don't matter. Your feelings don't matter. Being in this kind of relationship means voluntarily agreeing to be treated like a second-class citizen. Okay, moving on. The fifth sign is what you could call a constant drama generator. Do you have someone in your life whose existence feels like an endless, poorly written soap opera? One day it's a conspiracy theory at work, the next a major fallout with the store clerk, and the day after that an existential crisis because it rained. Chaos always seems to follow this person. There's always some conflict brewing, some urgent, earth-shattering problem. And the worst part is, you constantly get sucked into their drama vortex. You find yourself playing the roles of rescuer, therapist, or referee in their disputes with their latest nemesis. Your own plans, your peace of mind, your actual problems, they all get shoved aside instantly because something has happened to them, yet again. Don't get me wrong, supporting loved ones when they're going through a tough time is perfectly normal. But when that tough time lasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's not a difficult moment anymore. That's their default mode. That's a lifestyle. These people feed off chaos and your attention. They don't need solutions. They need an audience. And as long as you're playing a part in their drama, your own life is effectively on pause. It's time to hit the stop button. Sign number 6, pathological jealousy and control. This isn't just about romantic relationships. It applies to friendships and even family ties. It all starts subtly, with things that might seem innocent at first. Questions like, "Where are you? Who were you with? Why didn't you reply to me right away?" Initially, this might even feel flattering, like a sign of care and genuine interest. But very quickly, this care morphs into total control. They start checking your social media, getting angry over a simple like you gave someone else. They demand constant updates on where you are and what you're doing. Gradually, they begin to criticize your friends, insisting they're a bad influence. The aim is clear: to isolate you from everyone else, making them the sole center of your world. Any attempt you make to spend time alone, pursue a hobby, or simply have some personal space is perceived as a personal insult or betrayal. They don't respect your personal boundaries because, in their eyes, you're their possession. This isn't love, and it's not true friendship. It's an attempt to trap you, to put you in a cage, even if it feels gilded. Healthy relationships are built on trust and on freedom, not suspicion and control. The 7th sign, and it's one of the most painful, is constant comparison to others, always to your disadvantage. Have you noticed how when you talk to this person, they constantly bring up images of perfect people? This could be an ex, a more successful friend, a colleague, or even a fictional character. And in these comparisons, you always fall short. The phrases follow the same pattern. Masha's already lost weight for summer, unlike some people. Look how quickly Petya climbed the career ladder. That's someone you should learn from. Or, my ex always knew how to make me happy. The goal of these comparisons isn't to motivate you. It's to make you feel inadequate. It's a powerful manipulative tool that chips away at your self-confidence. It makes you feel like you're not good enough, like you constantly have to prove something to earn their approval and love. You start living in a constant race, trying to measure up to an impossible ideal. But the truth is, even if you did reach that ideal, the bar would just be raised higher. Because the problem isn't with you. The problem is that this person likes seeing you constantly trying to catch up. It gives them a sense of power and importance. The 8th sign is the role of the eternal victim or sufferer. This person will never, under any circumstances, admit fault. No matter what happens, someone else is always to blame. A terrible boss, an unfair world, Mercury in retrograde, and, very often, you. Ask yourself, have you ever heard this person sincerely say, "Sorry, I was wrong"? If the answer is no, or very rarely, and even then usually with excuses, that's a significant red flag. These individuals are simply incapable of taking responsibility for their words and actions. Any attempt to discuss their mistake or the pain they've caused you hits a wall of excuses, accusations against you, or lengthy tales about how difficult they have it. Instead of solving the problem, you get another dose of drama where they are the noble victim, and you're the heartless tyrant who dared to criticize them. In the end, you either give up trying to sort things out, or, even worse, you start apologizing yourself, just to make the performance stop. Relationships where one person never takes responsibility are a dead end. There's no room for growth, no way to resolve conflicts, and no feeling of safety. Sign number 9 is financial or material parasitism. Relationships are always about give and take, but sometimes that exchange becomes painfully one-sided, especially when it comes to money and resources. Pay close attention to how this person handles finances within your interactions. Do they constantly forget their wallet when you go out for coffee or a meal? Do they regularly ask to borrow money, but conveniently forget to pay it back? Do they essentially live off you, freely using your things as if they were their own, yet contribute absolutely nothing to shared expenses or household costs? We're not talking about temporary tough times that anyone can face. We're talking about a systematic, ongoing pattern of using you as a personal ATM or a free service. This person might be a master at playing on your feelings of pity or obligation, spinning tales of hardship to get you to open your wallet again and again. Meanwhile, they might have no trouble spending money on their own entertainment or wants, but when bills are due or shared costs come up, they suddenly revert to being poor and miserable. This kind of behaviour isn't merely financial irresponsibility, it's a profound lack of respect. This person is literally taking advantage of you, giving nothing back, and showing no appreciation for your efforts or your hard-earned money. Your resources, like your time, are not limitless, and it's time to stop enabling someone who clearly doesn't value what you provide. The 10th sign is their effort to isolate you from your social circle and support system. A toxic person instinctively understands that your support system, your friends, family and loved ones, is their main enemy. That's because these people can help you see clearly what's really happening. So, they begin a subtle yet systematic campaign to isolate you. It often starts with criticizing your friends. Your friend is weird, they looked at me funny. Or, that friend is a bad influence, you're worse when you're around them. The goal is to plant seeds of doubt and make you see your loved ones through their eyes. Next, they start picking fights or suddenly get sick, exactly when you plan to meet friends or visit family. They create situations where you're forced to choose between them and your loved ones, and often, due to guilt, you choose them. Over time, you yourself start seeing friends less often, just to avoid another conflict. You drift away from family. Your social circle shrinks down to just one person, them. This is a classic abuser tactic. Left isolated, you become more vulnerable and dependent. They gain complete control over your world and your perception. If you've noticed your connections to the outside world weakening, ask yourself, is this the result of someone else's deliberate actions? The 11th sign is your physical reaction to this person. Our body is often smarter than our mind, sending us signals long before we consciously understand what's happening. Simply listen to yourself. What happens to your body when you see this person's name on your phone screen? Or when you hear the sound of their approaching footsteps? If your heart starts pounding, you get a knot in your stomach, and your shoulders involuntarily tense and hunch. This isn't just for no reason. This is your nervous system's reaction to a threat. Your body is literally preparing for fight or flight. It remembers past negative experiences and activates a defense mechanism. Maybe you get a migraine after talking to them, or your chronic conditions flare up, or you just feel physically weak and run down in their presence. Don't ignore these signals. Psychosomatics isn't just in your head. The emotional stress you experience in this relationship takes a direct toll on your physical health. If your body is screaming danger at you every time this person is around, perhaps the wisest thing to do is listen to it and create some safe distance. And finally, the 12th sign. This one is both the simplest and the most complex at the same time. It's the absence of joy. Just ask yourself this honest question. When was the last time you truly felt genuine joy while spending time with this person? Not just the relief that they're in a good mood and not causing trouble. Not the fleeting pleasure from a rare compliment, but true, bright, pure joy. Think back to the beginning of your relationship, whether it was a friendship or a romance. Back then, there was likely a lot of laughter, ease, and shared interests. And what about now? Where did all that go? If your relationship has turned into a constant cycle of obligations, compromises, tension, and trying to avoid conflict, then it's no longer a true connection. It's become heavy labor you don't get paid for. In fact, it's completely draining you. Healthy relationships, even the challenging ones, should bring more positivity than negativity into your life. They should be a source of support and happiness, not an endless source of stress or headaches. If you realize that joy disappeared a long time ago, and its place has been taken by fear, exhaustion, and disappointment, then this is the end. It's a sign that the story has concluded, and the best thing you can do for yourself is to put a stop to it and stop rereading the sad chapters, hoping the ending will change. It won't. But all these signs, from the 1st to the 12th, are overshadowed by one key indicator. The most important sign that it's time for you to cut all contact isn't found in the other person's behaviour. It's found within you. Ask yourself one question. What do you feel when this person isn't around? When they cancel plans, don't call, or don't text? If your first reaction is relief, if you feel the tension lift from your shoulders and you can finally breathe freely, that's your answer. Your nervous system is screaming at you that in their absence, you are safe. This is the turning point where you realise your peace of mind is worth more than maintaining a toxic connection. And one more important point, the harder it is for you to make the decision to break away, the more guilt you feel, the more necessary that break is. A strong emotional attachment, often based on manipulation, is what makes leaving so difficult. But it's a necessary medicine. Ultimately, ending contact isn't a sign of weakness or cruelty. It's an act of radical self-care and looking after your mental health. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you found it helpful or it made you think, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes. And now, a question for you. Have you faced similar situations? And what sign was the decisive factor for you to change your relationship or end it? Share your story in the comments. It could help others.